Hi guys, it's Sam from Sam's Reviews, and in today's video we're gonna be discussing another 2020 release. We're gonna be discussing the South Korean zombie film #Alive. So it's a horror/drama movie directed by IL Choo and starring Park Shin-hye and Yoo In, who starred in the latest movie of Lee Chung, Burning. He also made some of the very well acclaimed movies such as Oasis, Poetry, and Secret Sunset. Burning was adapted from my favorite short story of my favorite author Haruki Murakami, and the short story collection is called The Elephant Vanishes, and the actual short story is called Barn Burning. I really recommend watching this movie. Burning is an excellent movie, and so is the filmography of the director. Anyway, that was a bit of a leap. Let's get back into #Alive. So the movie follows a beginning of an outbreak of a zombie apocalypse. But it's set in the age of the internet and the social media, and not in an era where it's very hard to connect with people. And we follow our main character, who's a very average guy. He's a gamer. He has no special abilities, not physically, not mentally. He's just an average guy trying to survive. Although what I'm gonna say about the general aspects of the movie might sound negative, but wait till you hear what I actually like about this movie after a little bit. The direction of the movie was so uninteresting and so uninventive, and there was no cool transitions or cool frames, just average and mediocre at its best. The soundtrack was so generic, so forgettable, and doesn't stick with you. The dialogue was actually very badly written and badly acted, and the acting was really over the top. Our main character was really energetic compared to the other actors who were very average and mediocre, and I didn't like that. It caused an imbalance in the movie. And the more the movie progresses, the more cliche it gets, following some of the famous tropes in the zombie or apocalyptic sort of films. Lots of coincidence, being in the right place at the right time sort of scenarios, which I really don't appreciate, especially in 2020 where we have a bunch of movies who already follow these tropes. Okay, so what did this movie actually do? Why does it work? So most zombie movies or apocalyptic sort of movies depict the picture that our main characters are outside their house, they're in the street, in open areas, or they are already there, or they leave their house to go there, which causes chaos and really chaotic situations with lots of action and lots of action scenes and lots of fighting. Because if they are in the comfort of their own house, what sort of action would take place, and how would this be an interesting movie? And this is the challenge that the director decided to follow with this movie. Realistically speaking, if there's a zombie apocalypse or a pandemic like the coronavirus, people are gonna stay home. They wouldn't like to go outside. They don't want human interaction, and the media is gonna encourage you to do so. They're gonna keep ordering you to stay home, stay away from people, don't interact with anyone, and this is what hopefully one of us is gonna do that. You won't just freak out and start running to places and start putting your life and your family's life in danger. Maybe when your resources are gonna run low, you're gonna have to be forced to leave your house to get food and to get water. But realistically speaking, if something like that happens, your house will have some sort of food and water and stuff like that to keep you sustained for a month or two. And this is the case in which our main character of the movie is in. He lives alone and he has enough supplies to sustain him for a long time. Directors usually skip the part where you have supplies and you can sustain yourself, and there's electricity and there's water and food and all that, and they find this part very uninteresting. There's no sort of action, you can't do anything in it, but rather they go immediately to the part where you are starving and you need to go outside and you need to interact with people and you need to fight with like zombies and stuff. Because in this part, where is the action? Where can a movie happen? And the director IL Choo decided to challenge himself to make a zombie movie, mostly because he does cheat a couple of times in the movie, but mostly happens in one flat or one house, one apartment. Although our character did interact with a few people, did go out of his flat a couple of times, but mostly speaking, he did stay at his house for most of the time. So how can we make this part where he stays in the house interesting. And this is why he made his main character an observer. He looks outside the window where the action happens, where people are like fighting in the street and there are people being eaten and people being torn apart, but he observes them. He doesn't take part in it. And this is why #alive is actually interesting, because of two reasons. Number one, we follow a very normal guy with no gifts, no special abilities, not mentally or physically. He's just a normal guy, and it takes place mostly in one small apartment where no action happens. So to make an entire movie, a 1 hour and a half, maybe 40 minutes movie, this is kind of a challenge. Anyway, overall, it's a disposable movie. It's forgettable. It's nothing special, but it's gonna open a new era for zombie and apocalyptic sort of movies to start being a little bit more realistic and stop taking place in open areas and areas that are very crowded and suffocated by people. Do I recommend it? No, I don't. I mean, if you're a person who likes to keep up with what's happening in 2020 and you wanna see most of the movies, go ahead, check it out. But if you're a person who is picky with your movies, I would skip this movie. I gave it 5 out of 10, and that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and see you. Bye.